All right, so here we are in BUMS.AI, and I wanted to share with you the Mosey method, and how we're going to apply it using BUMS.AI for a typical roofing company. We're in my demo account here. I'm going to share with you a little bit what we're going to do. So the very first thing, we've gone over, what our problem is and solution, and we're going to work on building those, landing pages, emails, etc., text messages. We're going to get to that. But the very first thing that I'm going to tell you that you need to do is create a pipeline. Without a pipeline, you don't know what stages where you're at. So what stages do we imagine here? So I'm going to go ahead and live build this with you. So I'm going to go into my pipeline section. And remember, this is all available to you in the $297 a month version. There is no upgrade price. You're at $297. We will have modules you can load over time, but essentially you're at $297. So what we're going to do is we're going to get in here and we're going to start using that. So here we go. We're going to do create a new pipeline. So the way I got here again, guys, pipeline settings, we're in pipeline. We're going to create a new pipeline, and we're going to go ahead and build a pipeline for what we're going to do. So we'll just call this the Mosey method, right? So let's call it Mosey, and that way we know what's going on here. And what we're going to do for right now, I'm not going to want these stats on my homepage or whatever. And we'll get into, I'll explain that to you later. But let's start with our leads. So we're going to have probably cold leads. We're going to have, let's call them hot leads. We'll figure out what those definitions are later. But let's just go with two buckets. Don't overthink it. Cold leads, hot leads. Somebody I don't know, somebody I know, right? And instead of calling them hot, I'm going to call them warm. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do is figure out what's that first lead magnet that I'm doing. In my case, I talked about the awareness. And the awareness for me is damage. So in other words, like I want them to go to some place and say, do I have damage? Can you run my property for me? Can you tell me if I have damage? So basically, do I have damage? They want an awareness inquiry, right? So I want to create the inquiry. So this is going to be, I'm going to call it assessment, I guess. And you call it whatever you want, guys. It doesn't really matter. I'm just showing you kind of how this works and how easy it is. So I'm going to call it assessment. The next one from there is I'm going to say somebody from there could obviously go to a full inspection. But a lot of people, they're still kind of like, okay, I guess I got damage, but what else do I know? How does it work? What does this cost? So let's go ahead and put those in there. Let's put in like what's it cost and how's it work. So I see that as being a page where it kind of explains how it works, and here get a quote, right? So we can do instant quote, right? So we had our assessment or calculator, property report. I'm going to rename this. I don't like that name. Property report, instant quote. And then there's some guys that just don't get to the other thing. So there's going to be short-term nurturing, right? Like that little like, hey, are you sure? Do you want to buy? But short-term is great, and hopefully those convert. Some people end up in something called a long-term nurture. So we're going to put that in here, long-term nurture. And then our final goal that we're going to try to do is actually get them into a inspection, right? So scheduled. So we're going to put inspection booked. All right. So these are going to be our stages. Now you can move these stages like this. I like to keep long-term nurture below. You can hide these from your front home page, so you're not seeing that on your graph. For now, I'm going to keep it that way. I'm going to add them back later, but for right now, I've cleared everything out. So I got here's my layout, guys. Cold leads, people I don't know, that don't know me. Warm leads, people that know me. I don't have to know them, but they need to know me, right? Property. So, as a business, how would that work for you? Well, we're a local business. We're in the area. Well, they might know you, right? And then there's people that don't know us because we just came to town, cold leads. We'll get more into that. Property report is going to be that, hey, do I have damage? That's a question we're going to try to answer at that stage. Like somebody's inquiring if they have damage, if they should be inquiring. The next one's going to be somebody who gets that information and that quote. The next one's going to be someone who books. Now, here's the thing to realize. When you're working with funnels, not everyone has to touch every stage. In some cases, they do. A lot of cases, somebody might be a cold lead and jump right to an inspection. Somebody might be a warm lead and jump to instant quote and then, go to long-term nurture. So understand how a funnel works properly, and it's going to be very important. But you saw how easy it was to build a funnel. I'm going to save it right there. And as you see it pop up here, what's that look like, guys? I'm going to show you right here. It's pretty cool. We're going to drop this down. Here's our Mosey method, and we got cold leads, warm leads. I'm going to kind of filter these down a little so you can see. Again, that's a BUMS exclusive right there. Property report, instant quote, inspection booked, and long-term nurture. So how's this going to work? And that's what we're going to work on next. So let me get to that chapter here in a second.